Hi, everybody. I am so
Hi.
excited for this call. A bit of Jerry love. Who doesn't love a bit of Jerry love to kickstart the new year? So, this is our first call of the new year with Jerry Roisentul, Coach Jerry. I'm very excited. So, hi, Angela. Hi, Aga. Hi, Amy. Hi, Helen. Hi, Ria, Catherine, Michelle, Holly, and Jerry. Yay! He's there.
I have returned.
Can you hear us, Jerry?
Yes, I can't hear you. But yeah,
Yes.
I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
So I like to start prompt and on time. So we are going to start the call and people can jump on. So we have had Christmas, we have had New Year, and we have had time without Jerry. And I know we're all feeling the effects of no Jerry time for a few weeks. And here we are. Some of us are so excited to be on the call. Some people actually logged in an hour early. I had the email to say that you tried logging on an hour early, super keen. Making sure that you because the Zoom only holds 100 people, so I'm sure you were just making sure that you were one of those 100. I love it. I like it. So, Jerry, how was your Christmas and New Year been?
You know, Christmas was great. New Year's was awesome. New decade. And if I have to be honest, Danny, I got to start off with the truth. I missed all of you. I really, truly missed our time. I missed our call. And by the way, I want to give an enormous public shout out to my new personal assistant, the incredible Catherine Scully. I want you guys to know that Catherine has been working with me back and forth on putting together all of the things for this mammoth leadership summit I'm bringing to the UK on May 2nd. And we're going to talk about that briefly at the very end. But she has been an absolute blessing in helping me with arrangements and where we're going to stay and how we're going to do this. So Catherine, I want to publicly say thank you, my friend. And when this all comes together, we're going to all lift you up and take you off the field and celebrate your greatness. So thank you, my friend. How are you? How's everybody? It's good to see everybody. I see people are still getting on the call. This is awesome. Danny, do you have anything you want to say, or do you want me to just roll?
I just want to say very, very, very quickly and then roll, how much I have personally missed your time, Jerry. So I've been, for the last few weeks, having Christmas, New Year, been off on the Maui trip, traveling, moved house. I've had no internet. So I've been paying for extra data with my phone provider. And I've actually been going back to old Jerry calls from like 4 or 5 years ago, catching up on old Jerry calls. They never get old. They're always relevant. And getting my Jerry love that way, but nothing beats the actual face-to-face personal touch. So I'm so glad that we're back on board. Jerry and I are working out the dates for the next few months as well, so that it's not as short notice as what it is for you guys that it has been today. Which is my fault. I didn't have the date in my diary, but the next few months we're going to be able to. So Jerry, I'm going to let you roll, but I'm so glad that we're back on track with these calls.
I am too, and you better get used to it, people, because we got a whole year's worth of this stuff coming up, and we're going to get you the dates for the next 2 months, February and March. We'll probably have them by the end of this call, or end of the day at least. And that way you can put them in your calendar, and we're just going to give you the dates 90 days at a time. So in March, we'll give you the dates for April, May, and June. And that way we can plan these calls and nobody will miss them. So I am excited to be back. I'm thrilled to be here. I was tossing around multiple trainings that I wanted to start with. I was texting Danny on Facebook going, well, what about this? And did I cover this before? And what do you think about this? And I finally just decided to go with my gut, because every time I go with my gut, incredible things happen. And so we have a brand new year. We have a brand new decade. And there's exciting anticipation about what's to come. But I know something from my own experience, that more of the same gives us more of the same. And if we don't change some of the things that didn't work in the past, we're going to constantly get the same results in the future, and we cannot do that in this new year. And so the title of my training today is the No Excuses Mindset. Because my friends, that is the mindset that we need to adopt in this new year if we are going to win and become all that we are capable of becoming. 2020 has to be the year of no excuses. You know, it's really sad to me as I spend time working with so many people to see people that spend a lifetime dreaming their dreams, yet they never live them. How sad is that? We spend a lifetime dreaming the dreams we want to have, yet we never actually live them. And the reality and the truth to this whole thing is that the only thing that's holding us back from living the dreams that we dream is our own mindset. The fear and the excuses that we make to procrastinate, to avoid doing what we know we need to do. Yes, you got to get on those phones and make those calls, but we avoid them because we're afraid. Because we're just basically, at the end of the day, we're afraid to fail. And by giving into our excuses or giving into our self-limiting beliefs and not taking action, we cheat ourselves out of the opportunity to fully realize all of our dreams and achieve true success. And the only way that we can make this happen is we need to get out of our comfort zone. We need to change our mindset, and we need to give up our excuses. And when we're able to do those things, we will overcome the obstacles to be able to get the things that we want in our life. So there are three things I want you to focus on as we go through this call. Number one is we got to get out of our comfort zone. Okay, some of you have camped out in your comfort zone, and it's time to pack up and move on. Some of you have taken out your lawn chairs and your little coolers and your umbrellas and your fizzies and your little music, and you're sitting there living in your comfort zone. It's time to pack up and move out, because nothing ever great happens when you're sitting in a comfort zone. So we got to get out of our comfort zone. We got to change our mindset. We're going to talk about that on this call, and we got to stop making excuses, which is what this call is all about. Okay, that's what it's all about. So one of the things that I love when I'm studying and training is I love to find stories of people that have overcome the things I'm talking about that are greater than the things I'm dealing with. I get inspired to hear people's stories and listen to what they've overcome, because then it puts my excuses in perspective. It's like, man, if this person did that, what excuse do I have not to win? And I want to share three amazing stories with you of three incredible people that overcame the greatest obstacles without making excuses. And the reason I want to share these stories with you is because these are so insane. It'll make your excuses look like a pea when you hear these stories. So I want to first start off and talk to you about a guy named Aaron Ralston. Some of you may know him, some of you don't. Well, Aaron Ralston went out one afternoon in Utah to go on a beautiful hike back in 2004. He was 27 years old, and it quickly turned into the 6 days from hell. Ralston was climbing down a rock in this narrow slot canyon when an 800-pound boulder suddenly came loose, crushing and pinning his right hand and his wrist to the canyon wall 100 feet below. Could you imagine being stuck in a slot in a cave with an 800-pound boulder pinning you down so you can't move? Sometimes you make the circumstances in your life look like an 800-pound boulder when it really is not as bad as you think. He was suddenly trapped alone, all by himself in the most remote part of the canyon, miles away from any help at all. And having tried everything possible to move the rock and to save himself for over 5 excruciating days and 5 freezing nights, he now faced the reality of his grim predicament. If he did nothing, he was going to die in that cave, pinned by an 800-pound boulder. He realized his only option to live was to try and extricate himself by severing his hand and his arm with his knife. And facing the obstacle in front of him, he made the gruesome decision to cut off his own arm. An agonizing hour later, he freed himself and made his way to the canyon, where he was eventually rescued and brought to safety. And after Roisentul recovered, he wrote a best-selling autobiography, which became a successful movie some of you may have seen, 127 Hours. If you haven't seen the movie, I would watch it. Today, Roisentul is married with 2 children, frequent public speaker all over the world, and his will to live no matter what, and his ability to take action saved his life because he refused to give up. Is your ability to win no matter what drives you? Or are the excuses that you make the things that drive you? Because when I hear a story like that, that gives me the chills to think about what would I have done. Knowing me, I don't like blood. I would have died. There's no way I could have cut off my arm. I would have been dead. But to think about that and to think about all the excuses that could have been made, but he didn't, doesn't that just take the excuses we make and put our excuses in perspective? Well, that story is one of them. Let me share another one. Some of you may know Nick Vujicic. Another example, someone who turned obstacles into opportunity. He was born with no arms and no legs. He struggled physically, mentally, and emotionally for years throughout his childhood, throughout his adolescence, until his willpower took over and he came to terms with his disability. And he said this, "I found the purpose of my existence and the purpose of my circumstance." In 2010, he published a best-selling book, Life Without Limits. He's now married with 4 children. He is booked 2 years in advance for speaking engagements. Lord knows I got to talk to this guy, find out what he's doing. And he's impacting lives all over the world. And his amazing life and his actions are an example of what it means to live without limits and to never give up. So you have a guy pinned to inside of a cave with an 800-pound boulder that never gave up and made excuses. You have a guy born with no arms and no legs that turned his life into a model of unbelievable success with no excuses. Then you've got another guy, Rich Morales. During 21 years in prison, Rich Morales found lots of excuses not to do things, but he wanted to go to college and he had no idea how he was going to make it happen. So eventually he found a mentor in prison who steered him in the right direction, and Morales enrolled in some classes back in 2005, a straight A student. 3 years later, he graduated in prison with an Associate of Arts degree. He's since gone on to coordinate publishing an amazing book, Men Built for Others. He completed a graduate program and was released from prison earlier this year. He's now working and fundraising to send underprivileged students to college. And he said, "My life is no longer filled with excuses. It's filled with an aim past the moon perspective. And he has transformed my life. And today I am a man who makes commitments not excuses. Oh, come on, somebody. 2020 is the year we have to make commitments and we have to stop making excuses. Then there's one other. The greatest example of the no excuses mindset. I don't know if there is a greater example of a no excuses mindset than this one. 1816, yes, 1816. Worked to support his entire family as they were forced out of their home. 2 years later, his mom dies. 1831, fails in business. 1832, ran for the state legislature and lost his job, was denied admission to law school. The next year, 1833, he went bankrupt. 1835, his love of his life, his fiancée that he was engaged to, passed away. 1836, he had a nervous breakdown and was bedridden for 6 months. 1838, he sought to be elected Speaker of the state legislature and he was defeated. 1843, he ran for Congress and lost. 1846, he ran for Congress and won, but lost re-election to Congress in 1848. 1854, he ran for the U.S. Senate and lost. He ran in 1858 and was defeated again. And in 1860, he was elected the President of the United States. Clearly, Abraham Lincoln's perseverance speaks for itself, and the rest of it is history. All of the people that I talk to you about, that inspires me. Why? Because no matter how different all of them are, there is one important thing that all four of those people have in common. And here it is. They have a no excuses mindset. Each of them had mammoth obstacles to overcome. But because they believed in themselves, and all of them took massive action to change their circumstances, and they persevered no matter what, and the action is the one thing, the only thing that kills excuses. Let me say that again. Action, activity is the only thing that kills excuses. See, the one thing that was said in here is they took massive action to change their circumstances. Some of you are sitting around in circumstances whining and complaining. I need to ask you if you'd like some cheese with that wine, because all we're doing is whining like babies. I think maybe what I need to do, Danny, is when I come to England, maybe I should bring some pacifiers, because maybe some people need some pacifiers because they're whining so much. They're whining about their excuses. They're whining about this. Listen, if you don't want or like something the way that it is, stop making excuses and start taking action. Because action will change your circumstances. Because when we make excuses, there's three major impacts that making excuses has. Number one, excuses drain your energy because you're not moving forward. Listening to people's excuses sucks the life out of me. Many of you haven't heard this story, but when I was building my network marketing business, I got sick and tired of listening to people's excuses. Why didn't you make it to the meeting last night? Well, you know, and all these excuses. I had somebody one day that I asked them if they would close our meeting on Tuesday nights. We did meetings on Tuesday nights similar to your DAs. I hadn't had a day off and a Tuesday night off in 7 or 8 months. I asked him if he would close the meeting on Tuesday night because my wife and I at the time, my son's mom, we were going to take a couple of days off and get away. We hadn't been away for a while. He said, oh, no problem. So here we are, 2.5 hours away. Our meeting's at 7:30. This goofball calls me at 7 o'clock and tells me he can't make it to the meeting. I'm like, what do you mean you can't make it to the meeting? You're closing the meeting. He said, I know, but I stubbed my toe really, really bad. I said, are you freaking kidding me? You stubbed it. Can you move it? Is it broken? No, it's not broken. It's just throbbing and in pain. And I says, well, it's not broke. Just drive to the meeting. I can't drive because it's the toe on my driving foot. And every time I put pressure on the accelerator, I'm agonized in pain. I said, well, then ask your wife to drive you. My wife's at work. I said, the meeting's in 30 minutes. I'm 2.5 hours away. You're closing the meeting. I know, Jerry, I'm so sorry. I said, so let me get this straight. You're not going to go to the meeting because you stubbed your toe and it's throbbing. He said, yes, I'm sorry. I said, fine, no problem. Found somebody else in a second. I said, I'm done with people's excuses. So I went out and made a banner, not a poster, not a sign, a banner, 8 feet by 4 feet, and put it on the back of my wall of my office. So when everybody came in and talked to me, so how come you weren't at the meeting, Danny? Well, oh, no, just go ahead and read the sign. Oh, no, but you don't understand. No, I understand. You just need to read the sign. And this is what my sign said. I don't make excuses, therefore, I'm not listening to yours. That was what it said. Because I realized that the more I take people's excuses, the more I enable them. And the more you make excuses, the more you stick in those excuses. So number one, excuses drain our energy. I don't have time for that. It drains our energy. Number two, excuses become a habit. And then we start making excuses for everything. And that allows excuses and a lack of activity to become acceptable to you. It now becomes the norm. I make excuses. I don't get an activity. That's just the way it is. It becomes a habit. And we cannot allow excuses to become a habit in this new year. Number three, excuses send the wrong message to the people around you. And it stops you from attracting the right people with the right mindset in your life. Because let me tell you something. I don't want to follow an excuse maker. Do you? And if you don't, you better make sure you're not one. Because if you're one that makes excuses, no one's going to want to follow you. I know Danny very well. We've been friends now for almost 4 years. The last person that could ever make excuses is Danny. My gosh, I could just include her story in one of them. Sitting in a hospital room with her daughter for a year, not being able to do appointments, building her business only through social media, all the excuses she could have made for, I can't build the business, it's not the right time, but she turned her excuses into what? Massive action and activity. She found a way, she made it happen. That's the cornerstone of successful people. Okay? The question is, what are you going to do? Are we going to change or are we going to stay the same? Because this is the year of the no excuses mindset. The simple fact is this, my friends. The biggest gap in the world is the difference between knowing and doing. Knowing what you need to do and just doing it. Excuses just create more distance, and excuses just widen the gap. Knowing and doing. Every one of you on this call know what you need to do. Danny doesn't need to tell you what you need to do. Fiona doesn't need to tell you. For the love of everything holy, I don't need to tell you. But knowing what you need to do and doing what you know is a big difference. And why do we know what we need to do and then we don't do what we know? Because we make all sorts of excuses as to why we can't do it. I'm afraid, I have doubts, I have fears, I have this. We got to stop that. The excuses widen that gap so far that we never end up winning the way we need to win. So the question is, how do you bridge the gap between knowing and doing? How do you bridge that? Well, the bridge is what I call DNA, just like your DNA in your body, DNA. And you're like, what does that stand for? Well, let me tell you what that stands for. The D stands for decide. You make a decision that enough is enough. And you're going to do what you have to do no matter what. Because the time to act is now. Enough is enough. The struggle, enough. The challenges, enough. The lack of sponsoring, enough. We can sit and complain about our circumstances, or we can say, enough is enough. Last year is over. This is a new chance, a new year, a new decade, a new beginning. Enough's enough. I'm tired of playing small. I'm tired of playing Arbonne like a hobby. I'm going to work Arbonne like a business. Because let me tell you something. Danny, Fiona, many of my MVP friends just came back from Maui. Excited, fired up, sharing a vision of what the company's going to be doing. I have tried my best to coerce some of my MVP friends, even with free coaching, to share some information with me, of which they would not. So the company's very good at scaring MVPs into sharing information before their time. But I will tell you this much. There's one thing I do know. The company is in massive momentum. Unbelievable, incredible momentum. And you can get all excited about the fact that you're with a company that's in massive momentum. But you want to be honest? Who gives a crap how much momentum the company's in if your business isn't? Because if your business is not in momentum, how do you capitalize on the momentum of the company? And you know why most people's businesses are not in momentum? Because rather than being in momentum, we're making excuses why we're not in momentum. Well, you know, Jerry, my team. Well, what about your team? Your team's doing what they want to do. Do you understand that you are your team? And if your teammates are not doing something, then you need to adopt the world famous Jerryism. You're like, there's Jerryisms? Yes, I'm writing a book of my famous Jerryisms. And this is what two of my world famous Jerryisms are. Stop trying to motivate your people and go find motivated people. Come on, somebody. Stop trying to motivate your people and go find motivated people. You know why? Because when you try to motivate people that make excuses, it drains your energy. But when you try to motivate people that are already motivated, man, it's exciting. Here's the second one. If you can't change your people, change your people. I'll let that one sink in for a minute. Sometimes it takes a while for that one to click, but if you can't change your people, change your people. Go find new people. And as we get started on this new year, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about sponsoring, developing, and duplicating. Because that to me is the key to success. I believe with every fiber in me, 2020 is the year of the builder. The person who builds is the one who's going to win. The person who only sells is going to struggle. Because you've got to do both. You've got to sell and build and sell, not one or the other. You've got to do them both. Okay, so the first thing we have to do, DNA, we have to decide enough's enough. No more excuses. It's time to get it done. Number two, we have to navigate. What does navigate mean? We've got to make a plan. You got to have a plan on what you want to accomplish. What is your goals? How are you going to do that? How are you going to take action? You can't just wake up every day and go, well, let's see how today goes. You know, if today goes well, I might be able to squeeze some Arbonne in there. That's not going to work. You got to have a plan. You got to navigate. It's like driving around the city. Okay, you can't just get in the car and say, oh, I'm going to this place like where I live in California. Nobody says, you know, honey, come on, we're going on a trip. We're going to New York. We're going back east to New York. Well, how are we getting there? I don't have any clue. We're just going to drive east and hopefully we'll make it there at some point. Okay, nobody does that. You have a plan. You navigate, right? When we get in the car, we've got GPS. right? We don't even need to know anymore. You just pop in where you're going on your little app and boom, you just follow the directions and you show up. Well, why don't we have a GPS for our own business? Why don't we have a navigation system that guides and directs us where we're going? Because we don't take the time to do that. Okay, we don't take the time to do that. So we need to have a plan. We need to have direction. We need to take action on that plan. That's the navigate. So we have to decide, we have to navigate, and the A is we have to act. We have to act. Massive action. Action is the only thing that will kill excuses. Action's the only thing that will kill excuses. The only way to get something done is to set aside the time and do it. And once you start, you prove to yourself that you can get it done, and you keep going. I was noticing here in the comments, and I need to kind of go up a little bit farther. Catherine, I nearly made an excuse today, but I put on my big girl pants and did it and made a new contact. Way to go! That's what we're talking about. Her actions overtook her excuses, and she got a result out of it. But if her excuses overtook her taking action, she would have got nothing. So Catherine, way to go. Way to be a pillar of what I'm teaching right now. Okay? We have to decide. We have to navigate. We have to act. That is the DNA of how you overcome excuses. So now that 2020's here, ask yourself this question. What will you do differently than before? Do you have a plan? Do you have a written plan of what you're doing? If not, why? What are you waiting for? What are your commitments? Are you going to have a story at the end of the year that's going to inspire other people? Or are you going to have a story at the end of the year that's going to frustrate you? Come on now, because we're in charge of the story we're writing. Don't start going back to the book and look at the book you just finished writing. You're writing a brand new book now. It doesn't matter what was in the last book. You're writing a new book. Is your story going to inspire others at the end of the year, or is your story going to frustrate you? It's totally your choice. And with the beginning of a new year and a new decade, you've been created to be the best at what you do, to create the life that you're excited to continue living so you can serve others and impact people around the world. So my encouragement is that we develop a no excuses mindset, and we watch 2020 become the best year that we've ever had, because I believe that's true. Now, we're talking about excuses. Now I'm going to turn this over to Danny. I love doing these calls. I love being here with everybody. But I want to tell you all something. May 2nd, I'm going to be in your face, like in person, where I can take a picture with you and I can hug you and I can spend time with you, because I am flying around the world to bring my leadership summit to all of you, so you don't have to travel all around the world to come see me. That's what we're doing. And I want you to understand something. And I'm just going to be honest, and Danny, I hope you don't mind me doing this, but I'm just going to be real, because this is part of teaching. There's a lot of you I know that have bought your tickets. There's a lot of you that are making excuses. I'm waiting for payday. I'm waiting for that. I get that. I get that. Well, let me explain something to you. Amazing how we pay for things that we don't really need on credit cards that we can't afford. Instead of making an excuse why I can't do this, come up with your reason and say, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. The ticket is $85 US. That's the early bird price, which, by the way, ends the 31st of this month. Then it goes up to $95 US. Not that big of a difference, but a difference is a difference. So what you can say is, you know what, here's what I'm going to do. I know I'm getting paid. I know I'm going to get paid at the end of the month. I'm going to get paid next month. So here's what I'll do. I know I'm going to go. I'm just going to buy my ticket. I'll charge it temporarily. And as soon as I get paid, I'll pay off my credit card. See, don't make excuses. Don't allow the money to be the reason, because I'm going to tell you something. We're going to have that room packed to the rafters with excited people. And you are not going to be one of those people that are going to wish you would have been there, because the summit cannot be, it's an experience. I want to encourage all of you to get yourselves registered if you haven't. Get your teams registered if they haven't. Let them know the early bird ends at the end of this month. No excuses. Because you know what, my friends, I'm not making excuses for why I have to come travel all the way around the world to do this. I'm making it happen. We're talking to Catherine. We're figuring out where we're flying into, Airbnbs we're going to stay at, whether we're taking a train or we're taking a coach. We're figuring it all out. We're not making excuses. We're just going to get it done. I don't know how it's just going to happen. But I want you to know, you do not want to miss this event. This leadership summit has been literally game-changing people's businesses as I spend a day helping you grow and develop your leadership. What is more important in this business than your mindset and your leadership? I don't care if you're brand new or if you're a seasoned veteran. If you want to be a leader and be better at it, you're going to be able to do it. And so what I'm going to do for all of you is I am posting the link right here. Copy and paste that link, share it to your pages, share it with your teams, register yourself, take advantage of the early bird, save yourself a little extra money. No excuses. Because when I fly out there, May 2nd, I expect to see a room of 300 plus excited, fired up, amazing people ready to take the roof off the place. Because if we have this kind of fun on a call, good Lord, I can only imagine what kind of fun we're going to have in person. Okay, so mark the date down, get yourself registered. I hope this training helped you out and gave you a thought process of this is the year of a no excuses mindset. I'm going to get it done. Enough's enough. It's time to win. Okay, that's my message for today. So Danny, I'm going to turn it back to you, and then we can open it up for any questions that anybody has.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. You always fire everybody up. You always pack a punch, Jerry. You really do. And for anybody that doesn't know, Jerry's obviously coming to the UK to do his summit on May the 2nd, which in itself is phenomenal. The fact that I've been trying to get Jerry to come over to the UK for 4 years, because I get so green with envy watching him go and do his summits in Australia, New Zealand, all across America. And I'm like, oh, I wish we could get you to the UK. So the fact that he's actually coming over to the UK for the first time to do the first of hopefully many, many, many summits is just sensational. It's going to be epic. But on top of that, the next day, Sunday, the 3rd of May, we are having our area manager retreat. So for many of you, you might, I know it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
What timing?
I know. So for many of you, you've probably seen in the past, in the UK, they do an area manager retreat once a year, and it's always phenomenal. Let us know in the comments if you've ever been to an AMR, an area manager retreat. So it's really exciting. And we are having ours on Sunday, the 3rd of May. So it's literally one weekend out of the whole year where it's going to blow your mind, absolutely explode everything. It's going to, the whole thing, so Jerry's Summit and AMR is going to be in the Midlands. So that means it's really central for everybody coming from Scotland, Wales, from the south, from the north, from the east, from the west. Like, it's right in the centre of the UK, so it's ideal for everybody to get there. And it shouldn't take anybody more than about 4 hours to get there if you're in the UK. I know Nicola Bunker's flying over from Canada to be there, so literally if you're 4 hours away, don't make any excuses and let Nicola hear you, because she's flying over from Canada just to be there for Jerry's Success Summit. So that weekend is going to blow our socks off. To be honest, when Jerry first told me the price, I actually said he was massively undercutting himself, undervaluing, because I would have paid 400, 500, 600, 700 pounds to see Jerry speak. But because Jerry's got such a connection with all of us and he genuinely wants to help us and our businesses, he is massively undercutting his price, and the value is so, what we're paying is so low compared to the value of what we're going to get. So a massive thank you, Jerry, for you for doing that, because you don't have to do that and it wasn't expected. So the fact that you are is amazing, and we really appreciate that you're coming over, you're booking your flights and you're getting yourself here, and we just, oh, can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be a weekend to remember.
It's going to be an amazing thing. And I just want to say, first of all, just thank you for that wonderful thing. But I want you to know this, all of you, that I have done 7 of these leadership summits so far. And I have had a group of VPs at every event that came up to me after the event and said to me, why are you not charging more for this? I've had many VPs in the States that have told me they would have invested $300 to $400 to come to this event now that they knew what it was. And you got to understand something, you guys. Can I be real, Danny?
Sure.
Okay. I should have charged more, and I could have charged more. I should have charged way more for this. Danny knows, she travels. It is an expensive trip for me to bring my wife over to the UK and then spend a few days going to London and hanging out. All that time I'm there, I lose an entire week and a half of coaching, which is income that I lose. So from a financial standpoint, it makes absolutely no sense for me to be flying over to the UK and charging $85 US, which is 66, 67 pounds. It's absolutely absurd and it's ridiculous. It really is. I'm just being honest. But you know why I'm doing that? I'm going to be honest with you. Because of the woman that's in the top left of my screen. Because of the incredible relationship, the incredible friendship that I have developed with Danny. The fact that we've worked on this for almost 5 years to make this happen. And I refused to allow money to be the reason that people couldn't make it to this event. And so if you're sitting there, and I'm going to be real, and you're having a problem coming up with 66, 67 pounds, whatever it is now, to invest in a ticket, you need to ask yourself the question, when are you going to go to work? When are you going to go build your business so you no longer have to worry about financial things for something like this that's not that big a deal? Okay, you really got to be serious with yourself, because I don't let people slide. When they talk to me about money, sometimes as leaders we go, oh no. At the end of the day, if you can't afford to go yet, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying, when you're going to say, I'm sick of not being able to afford whatever I want to do. Forget my event, anything. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of being broke. When is that going to take effect where you say, I got to go work my business? Because you have a business where you make money. It's not a nonprofit business. And so I am investing a whole lot, not just money, time and everything, to be flying out there to do an all-day event. Okay? All I'm asking for is let's pack the doggone place out. If I'm going to come there, let's fill it to the rafters. And Danny, I can guarantee you this. I don't plan on this being a one-time trip. Okay? I plan on coming back because I have another summit that I can come back and do that's on mindset. But this time we're going to work on leadership. But let's not make excuses. I'm not making excuses for why it's challenging and, oh, it's difficult. And I'm just, let's get it done. I expect the same of everybody else. So thank you, Danny, for your friendship and your belief. That's why I charged what I did and not charge more. So the greatest gift is let's pack the doggone thing out.
Wow. And there's loads of ideas in the comments for anyone that is desperate to get their ticket, but physically doesn't have the actual money right now. Some ideas tomorrow. And like Jerry said, it just makes sense. Just if you actually build your business, you're going to earn the money and you're going to be able to buy the things that you want to buy. Like Jerry said earlier on in the call, when I first started building my business, we were £40,000-50,000 in debt. Being able to afford to pay for fuel in the car was tough, but I knew that I was going to invest in things that were going to see a return on myself, my personal development, and then my business. So some ideas tomorrow that you can do. If you help 3 people buy the body cleanse, that's your ticket paid for Jerry tomorrow. So by tomorrow night, you can go on and get your ticket. If you help 3 people buy a box of fizz sticks, that's your money covered, so you can buy the ticket tomorrow night. If you help one person do the 30 days to healthy living, that's pretty much your ticket covered. So tomorrow night, we should be able to have everybody been able to purchase their ticket just by building your Arbonne business. The fact that we've got this like online franchise model where we can plug in and create an income is just amazing. Like a bricks and mortar business, you just wouldn't have the same opportunity that we have with Arbonne. So some ideas there for people to be able to get their ticket tomorrow. Make sure you get it while it's on the early bird. Save yourself a little bit of money. I love saving money, so there's no way I wouldn't buy an early bird ticket. I wouldn't. And Jerry, honestly, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because I do know that you should be charging £500-600 for this ticket. I do know that, and I think we all do. We all know that. So the fact that you're doing it so cheap is unbelievable. It's really remarkable. It's just you as a human being. It really is. And we've loved the call tonight. I know that there was a thing about the date. So Jerry did say for February the 7th, but a lot of us are on AIT, so I explained that. So Jerry's proposed the 14th, but it is Valentine's Day and it is nighttime for us. So I'm not sure about whether that's going to be possible or not, Jerry.
I'm fine with it. It depends on everybody. It depends on everybody else.
Who goes for meal on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, you know what? Out here in the States too, going out for dinner on Valentine's Day is ridiculous. I mean, the restaurants are booked solid. It's 2-hour wait. It's like we'll just make dinner at home and celebrate. So if the majority of the people are good with the 14th, then we can do.
Put it in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments right now so we can all see. And then the one we definitely have set up for sure is on Friday, March 6th. 7:30 p.m. UK time. Friday, March 6th is a definite. And so let's see. Yes for the 14th. I'm good. 14th is fine. No, yes, good, good. Probably best not on Valentine's Day. Not me. I'm fine. Okay, so we have kind of a mixed bag of tricks. Okay, Danny, hold on. When all else fails,
but the other one.
We got everybody.
Okay, so March's date is March the 6th at 7:30 p.m. UK time. So that's March's one, March the 6th. Alison, I'd love to hear Jerry talk on Valentine's Day.
How about this? How about Wednesday, the 12th of February at 7:30? Wednesday, the 12th of February at 7:30 p.m. your time.
Some of us are getting back from AIT that day.
Oh, yeah, can't do that then. Okay, how about
funny time next month?
No, how about I can't do that day. How about Tuesday the 18th at 7:30 your time? Tuesday the 18th.
I can do that. Can anybody else do that? Tuesday the 18th.
Because I definitely want Danny and Fiona to be on the calls too. Okay, so the 18th. Okay, the 18th is looking good. Okay, so let's do Tuesday the 18th, 7:30, Friday the 6th, 7:30 of March.
Okay, and I'll make flyers so that people remember those dates as well. So 7:30, Jerry, 14. Wonderful. Any final thoughts, Jerry, before we sign off?
No, I just want to remind you guys of something very important. You still have 8 days left in this month. And you can't change anything that happened in the first 22 days, but you can definitely change and make a big impact in what you do in the next 8. So focus on what's forward. Don't focus on what's back. Get out there, kick some butt, and end this month strong. And the momentum you end the month with will start your next month off on the right note. So that's my closing thoughts for all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jerry. And we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, the 18th of February.
The Rocky music. You're too funny, Danny. I love it. Good to see you guys. Love being back with all of you. And we'll see you all next month. And get yourself registered for the summits before the early bird ends January 31st.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Talk to you later.
Bye.